use the gaming feature I use to like cast my iPad disappeared. But the good news is I fixed the color yesterday, or not yesterday, Monday. Remember on the live, like, yeah, the color yellow was black. I uninstalled and reinstalled the app, and that is fixed. Remember on Monday, my taco hat was black. So at least that weird thing was fixed when I had to reinstall the app to get this feature to reappear. Every day, it is another 5 things every time I open TikTok Studio. But I love it. Just kidding, TikTok. It's great. Yay. Love it so much. Wouldn't have it any other way, but it is always amazing to me. Like every every day it's a new set. And then again, it's probably me because I'm like, is no one else having these problems or is this me? So how I'm doing this to myself. Let me get live. I'm just getting live on Twitch and YouTube. I have been screen recording all the latest updates from Capitol Hill as they debate and try to slow down the passage of the big disgusting bill that is going to rob us all. So that's what we're going to go through is, as you know, the most relevant and important. Oh, good. TikTok Studio return the reminders to pin live goals. There we go. Okay, TikTok Studio did one good thing this morning. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to finish setting up YouTube and then I will get this party started. Okay. Hey, Leah. Hey, Steph. It's so nice to see you guys in the YouTube chat every time I open it. It's like comforting in a way. Okay. Give me a second. And please remind me to hydrate. I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Also, you know, walking and running 10 miles a day, I'll say just the report on that is doing that at 400, 400 feet of elevation versus say a mile. Very two different things. So yes, Colorado's elevation is kicking my ass when it comes to running. Also, I realized Phoenix is relatively flat. I'm just walking around on flat ground now. I'm like running up hills, like while like the FedEx cycling team is like racing by me. I'm like, I'm not prepared for this. So Colorado, you are kicking my ass when it comes to running and I feel like brisk walking. Like I'm like now bringing like 2 inhalers. I did not move to Denver. I have been having, I mean, I'm sure this is, I shouldn't even say these things I feel sometimes because it's like we're all going through the same thing. I've been having a very hard time with my mental health and like the 24-hour news cycle. Since Trump was elected, like the last 6 months have been awful. And then Phoenix, it is like today, it's like, I think 116 it's going to be. You can't be outside past like 9:30. So it just, for me, a lot of my mental health, or what I use to soothe it is being able to be outside and moving around. And people are like, just go to a gym. It's part of it is the being outside. So I just thought I would go to Denver for a couple weeks and stay with a friend and see. Well, my therapist thought it would be a good idea. Also, as long as we're being transparent about mental health, I talked about this before. This is the second time I've gone to Denver because of mental health. The first time was in March, and I said, hey, I'm going to do lives from here, and I never did. And that's because, I have PTSD, and I basically sat on the couch and had a week-long PTSD attack. So, which is also part of what I'm working on. So just just to say, actually me being here and functioning and moving around and going to stores and doing all that stuff, it's a big improvement. Like part of my therapy is, it's called exposure therapy. It's getting used to like doing things that I don't want to do and that can kind of make me uncomfortable. So this is a part of that, like changing environments, not isolating, because normally I'm always alone, but then the sadder I get, I will become dangerously isolated. So this is me following my therapist's advice and doing the opposite of that. So yeah. Thanks, Gums. I know. And I just want to keep sharing about my mental health because I just don't want anyone to feel like how you're feeling right now. There aren't other people feeling that way. Like, yeah, I think it's weirder if you're not feeling insane. Like, so I just wanted to say that and say, like, hey, I'm right in it with you, like fighting through it. And every day I want to say I'm getting better, but I also want to say my observation is it's like two steps forward, possibly five back. So also don't think like healing is linear. Like just you might get better and then you might get worse as well. So all of that is just I'm right there in it with you. I care about you all. Yeah, Jake from Arizona gets it. Exactly, Jake. Keep fighting the good fight. I'm supposed to return to Arizona on Tuesday, and it's like I already have anxiety because you're just like a prisoner like, in your own home. It is if you've never felt that kind of heat, and I was born in it. I was made to survive. I've got the melanin for it, but it's hard to deal with. Yeah, empathy. I agree, Molly. Empathy is also a heavy load, and when all like, trust me, there'll probably you might cry today going through all of the what's going on Capitol Hill. Yeah, empathy can. It's like the biggest gift to have empathy, but it can also be taxing. Thanks, Aunt Julie. You're absolutely the best. So I just want everyone to know if you're not okay, in finances, right? Like I think we're all worried about that too. Like that's another thing for me. It's like, can I make money doing this? Like, should I get a job? I think everyone's like having these sort of issues. But I do this because I have a PTSD diagnosis and certain things. It's good for me to be able to work from home. Like I'm much more productive. So anyways, I just want everyone to know if you're mental health suffering, I'm right there with you and it's okay. And then to that point, when I talk about finances and making ends meet, I just wanted to say, I think probably everyone's aware. I posted it in the Discord yesterday. Facts still matter. He's having a very hard time right now with finances. Like, and I talk about this. I come from marketing and advertising. Industry as well. And when things get uncertain, like what Trump's doing with trade policy, and no one can predict the costs inside a large corporation, often the first things that go are marketing and advertising budgets, but not just any. Like Fax has a marketing consultancy firm, and it's always the marketing consultancy firms, I think, that are cut first in advertising budgets. So I posted it in the Discord yesterday, but if you have a couple extra dollars or if you are blessed and have more and can help Fax out this month, I think like he's looking to pay his mortgage and kind of just breathe a little bit. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but a few months ago, he had to put his son in rehab. His daughter's about to go off to university. So there's just a lot of unforeseen expenses that he's facing. And I would say of all creators, I've never seen someone like more selflessly raise money for other people, even when he doesn't have anything himself. So, sorry, at Facts Still Matter. Yeah, his ad is at Facts Still Matter. And then I reposted that post that's in his Discord. So, and that has links to the pay apps. And I'll repost it after again. But again, at Facts Still Matter. I mean, I think we all know Steve. I've done lots of lives with him. He's an amazing part of our community and has been super selfless. So, just in this moment where he needs something from us, I want to make sure that I, talk about it and we can reciprocate because, summer months are super hard and I just can't, I know that burden of like trying to survive when you have an independent marketing business. That is no joke. So anyways, yeah. And I'll probably talk about this more, hopefully. I was just about to say, I was talking, sorry, and Pickles just texted me. I was just about to say something about Pickles, and then he texted me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so to that point, Pickles just texted me. I think we were originally, if you remember, while I was in Denver, going to debate on Wednesdays. But since this bill thing is happening today, I think it's much more important that I update us on all the things happening on Capitol Hill. So I think Pickles and I will debate tomorrow and hopefully talk more about this. I'm talking about the Steve thing now and figure out sort of creative solutions and ways we can help Steve out. So I'll probably mention it again, but I just want to keep saying, for someone that is so selflessly helped so many people, I think that the least we could do is in this moment help him out. So, and I think I feel like there was a couple more things I was going to say, but you know how my mind works. So I will think of them later and interrupt another line of logic to talk about them then. What? Sorry, I'm just pulling up Discord really quick and getting my outline open, and then we will truly get this party started. Because, man, this is like the hump day to end all hump days. It's okay to cry while we go through It's okay. Laugh so you don't cry. I'm going to laugh, but if I cry, don't judge me because this is some very dark that we have to go through today, truly. And I'm kind of thinking about the order. Okay, so like usual, I'm going to start out just reading a couple things before we get to all the clips of the debate and the dissent on Capitol Hill. I love the debates in the Rules Committee in the House. Because I'll talk about this. Well, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk or read briefly about the bill leaving the Senate. And I want you guys to think about it. On Monday, I showed a lot of the clips. We're doing the same thing we did on Monday, pretty much now on the People's Receipts. But I just want you to compare in your mind. So on Monday, I was showing from Sunday and Monday the debates, and sorry about my nail polish. Don't judge me. I'm eating off my nail polish from stress. But on Sunday and Monday, it was the debates about this bill on the Senate floor, right? And I can't stop thinking about this, and I think about it all the time. It's like, and maybe it's because the House members are younger. On average, they get elected every 2 years. So maybe they're more vulnerable and have to answer to their constituents more often. But it's just when I watch debates on the Senate floor versus the House floor, I will always say the House cares more. They fight harder. They're more aggressive. They have less to lose. I also just think and I've brought this up before, I have this theory that because the average age of the House is much lower, and some of these people in the House have known nothing but Trumpian politics, like Maxwell Frost. Like they've grown up in this age of just Trump is a pathological liar, and they understand how to fight against Trump, which is aggressive straight at him. And it's like, I will be the first one to say, like, hey, I see a lot of improvements in the Senate, but doesn't it always still seem like they don't care? They're just a little bit too removed from this. We'll get to Maxwell Frost. I'm saying this for a reason. Maxwell Frost, you guys know how much I love Maxwell Frost. He follows me. A couple of Congress people follow me, but when Maxwell Frost followed me, I was like, this is the best moment of my life. I love him. And he, in the Rules Committee at late at night, went off and got in a fight with old, I always say the ghost of Margarine Taylor Greene's future. Margarine in 20 years will be Virginia Fox, who's the chair of the Rules Committee. Oh my God. Maxwell Frost, and he's like, I'm not sorry. And she's like, you need to be sorry. Take it back. He's like, well, I'm not. It was the oh, no, don't worry. I'm going to show it to you. Don't you worry. You know me. I'm always lurking around, recording screen. I'm just so proud of him. Oh, I love Angela Alsobrooks. I'm not saying every senator, but Angela Alsobrooks is new to the Senate, right? She won the most expensive Senate race in history, I'm pretty sure, in Maryland. But yeah, I have a lot of interesting things to show you, but I just feel like the House fights harder, louder. They have more to lose. I don't know. That's just my personal observation. But let's talk really quick about how Never again can we ever trust Lisa Murkowski, and she probably should stay in Alaska and not come back down to the lower 48 because she's gross. So when the Senate, I just want to point out when the final vote, the bill left the Senate, right, to return to the House because they made so many egregious amendments to it that it has to be debated in the House. It was tied. I want to make sure I get Susan Collins, Rand Paul, and Tom Tillis voted against the bill. So it was a 50-50 tie, and creepy couch boy J.D. Vance broke the tie in the Senate. So it left the House 51-50. And the 51-50, that's where we're all headed if this madness doesn't stop. Aunt Julie and I were like texting later today. We're like, can you make a reservation in the same insane asylum? If you don't know what a 51-50 is and why I think it's funny that the bill left the Senate 51-50, that's the code, like the police code for an involuntary psych hold. Some people know what I'm talking about. Like, it's a trip. It's like a 72-hour trip to the grippy sock motel. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you don't, be glad you don't know. Okay. Nope, Dale. Don't start, Dale. I just unblocked you a week ago. I'm telling you, Dale, don't start. And when I say Dale, I'm talking about David, whose real name is Dale, in the comments, the orange D. I'm telling you, you've been unblocked for 6 days, and you will be blocked again if you start. This is your warning. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, Dale. Before you type, you need to think, hey, does anyone care about what I have to say? And just assume, no one does. And please, 6 days, Dale. We were doing so well. Don't start now. Anyway, oh no. Exactly, Dale. I'm going to probably debate with Pickles tomorrow. Come see me. Come see me. We'll talk about it then. But right now we got to get through some stuff. Okay, let's tap the screen. Sorry. Oh, we're only at 10K. We need to get to 50K. Never a better day to tap the screen. It's the only thing we literally have control over. It's quite sad. And then, okay, so sorry, I'm just reading. And if I just wanted to show this because I love these things. And if you are a Midas Touch, get the full ones. I remember when this bulletin started. I'm telling you, if you have a job and you don't have time to follow the 24-hour news cycle, or for your mental health, you don't want to, this is the best news update out there. I remember when Ron Filipkowski started this and there were 0 people reading it. I think the circulation is up to like 350,000. And I think he does it about 4 times a week, just not when he has a podcast, and he only does one for the weekend. But if you're looking for hey, where can I really figure out, and not mainstream for-profit media what's going on, but where is there some sort of newsletter where I can figure this stuff out? I highly recommend this newsletter. To get the full newsletter on the weekends, you can get the weekend one, you can get the full one, but otherwise I think you get 30 or 40% of it. But if you are looking for a place to get your news, just Ron Filipkowski does an amazing job just really digging into the real news. If you don't know who he is, prior to Midas Touch, he's a defense lawyer. He worked for Ron DeSantis, former Republican turned never Trumper, one of the most brilliant political strategists I've ever been around. So I just can't recommend this enough. I just want to say that because I make so much reference to the stuff in here that I always want to make sure I credit my sources. So again, this is just what I went over, that bill was tied 50-50. And if I'm sorry. I'm feeling overly emotional. I shouldn't call someone stupid. If Senator Lisa Murkowski could have just done what was best and voted correctly, that bill would have never left the Senate. But anyways, I just want to read some things before I show the clips, because I have some clips of her losing her mind. But oopsies. Get back here. Let me send her this again. Here. Lisa Murkowski was the holdout vote that was going to decide this, and she's trying to spin weird narratives otherwise. Sorry, Lisa. Some of us are still in reality and understand what you've done. And she continued to make deals as everyone waited in order to benefit Alaska while selling out the rest of the country. Remember, this is the senator. Then rather than saying, hey, it's 42% of babies are born and funded by Medicaid. 50% of children in America their health insurance is Medicaid. Veterans are going to lose from this bill. The disabled, all sorts of people will miss out. Instead of saying this is an inhumane bill that's going to punish the average American, she's like, hey, let me get a carve out for just Alaska, right? She tried to orchestrate a backdoor deal where like snap cuts would not hit Alaska. And the Senate parliamentarians like, no, this is illegal and we're not doing that. So she didn't even get that, but obviously we'll get into what she did get, which one thing we know is watch out, whales. I'm obsessed with cetacean. Whales, stay away from Alaska, because Lisa Murkowski has given tax credits to people that unalive whales, which is unbelievable. Oh, Matt Raid, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. You guys know how I feel about Matt, and yesterday's live was so fun. Glad you guys are here, and thanks for hanging out yesterday.
More sophisticated.
I know I saw it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, Matt Raid. Love you all, and I'm so glad you are here. Let's all keep tapping the screen. I feel like we are not tapping enough, and then if everyone could share the live with like 10 people, that would be helpful. I know we have a lot of different lives going on. Matt switched his live time. I forgot, which actually is going to benefit me on Tuesdays. I'm happy about that. Thank you, Matt Raid. Glad you guys are here. We're about to go through all the latest clips on Capitol Hill of people, the floor debate for the big disgusting bill. So the bizarre thing is that after she voted for it, this is the weirdest thing so Lisa Murkowski knows how garbage this bill is. After she votes for it, she basically says she hopes it doesn't pass the House. Then don't vote for it, and it wouldn't even be in the House. I'm so tired of spineless Republicans. This should never be forgotten. And the sad part is, here's the dilemma we're in now. If we hate Lisa Murkowski and we want her to leave, is that a good idea, or will she just be replaced with a crazier Republican? I don't know. It's wild to even think about it. Here's the quote. My hope is that the House is going to look at this and recognize we're not there yet. Yeah, we weren't there when you sold out and voted for it, weirdo. Asked why she voted for the bill if it needs work, Murkowski said, voting against would have killed OBBB. Kill it and it's gone. There is one big, beautiful bill if you're like, what the F is that? There is a tax impact coming forward that's going to hurt people in my state. This is the most disingenuous pile of BS I've ever heard. Keep in mind, this artificial deadline of July 4th is not real. Trump made this up because he wants to throw himself a party on Friday. I'm so tired of mediocrely intelligent Republican senators inventing, I was going to say inventing narratives, but just pathologically lying. Oh, here she is here she is herself. She kind of looks like a scared bird. Murkowski was then asked about Rand Paul saying that she got a bailout for Alaska to buy her vote. She glared at the reporter for about 20 seconds before answering angrily, I find that offensive. I find a bunch of people unaliving from losing health insurance, particularly children, to be offensive. So I guess we all find things offensive. I advocated for my state's interests. I make no excuses for doing that. I just want to point out that, I could see this. And I said this on Monday. I said, hey, I'm sure she's probably thinking, hey, I see which way the wind's blowing and I'm going to do what I can for my constituents. But remember, she could have stopped this bill in its tracks. With her vote, with a no vote from her, this bill never would have left the Senate. Period. So everything she's saying is just her making up a bunch of excuses. She's like, do I like this bill? No. I know that many parts of the country will not be advantaged by this bill. I don't like that. People don't forget, Lisa. Good luck to you. I'm not going to read too much more of this. There's just one other thing I want to show you that one of my favorite Again, I don't love the Washington Post, but there's some great journalists there. And I always say follow the journalists. That way, when Trump gets them fired, you can find them on Substack. I love Jeff Stein, and I thought this was the most concise way to explain this bill and how disgusting it is. So Jeff Stein's a reporter for the Washington Post. He said, here is roughly how I'd try to break down the massive Senate tax bill to a friend. He's just saying like, hey, if I had to simplify this while explaining it to someone, here's what I'd say. And I was like, oh yeah, this is good. 1, extending/increasing prior GOP tax cuts with broad reach, larger standard deduction, raises child benefit 2K to 2.2K per kid, rate cuts across income bracket, cost 2.5 trillion. Bracket 199A changes, estate tax exemption, which is just, I can't, lifted to 15 million. I can't even read this without wanting to throw up. Cost 1 trillion. That's just rich people being able to pass on their wealth to their children without being taxed. I can't. 3, Trump 2024 campaign grab bag deduction for seniors. It wasn't that, hold on. And I don't like this part of it because Trump didn't campaign on deduction for seniors with tons of caveats. What he campaigned on was senior citizens aren't going to have to pay Social Security tax. That's what I heard. But hey, whatever. No tax on tips, which is AOC. I'll show you in a minute. Again, we're going to go over all the dissent on the House floor against this bill. AOC, she's a former bartender. She went off on the no tax on tips thing. I love her. Car interest deduction cost $500 billion. Again, MAGA, who can't do math, all of these things add to the deficit. We are bringing in less revenue and spending more. Tax breaks or business tax breaks, expensing, research and development, etc., cost $500 billion. Funding for immigration enforcement and military budget costs, which we already funded this before. And Kristi Noem's already out of money again. I was reading, and I'm not going to do it. I don't want to take the Trump bait and get distracted from this bill and us being robbed. But I was reading an article. Alligator Alcatraz, Trump's literal shanty town with indoor chain link fences that's already flooding because it's built in a swamp and the plumbing doesn't work. It's costing us $450 million a year. $450 million a year. Oh yeah, already flooding. Look up the videos. It is vile. It looks like a sewage pickup, and no one is even in there. It's costing $450 million a year.
That paper is more sophisticated now than computers.
Yeah, and someone said from FEMA money, which I don't want to say that's not true, but I just hate to get in that, it's like Trump used to lie and be like, they're taking your disaster relief money, giving it to immigrants. Well, I guess Trump is again. The only person that's actually ever done that is Trump. But I just want to say this is a separate FEMA bucket from disaster relief. But Trump did once take money from the disaster relief bucket and use it for immigration. He's the only person that has done that, even though he kept accusing Joe Biden of it, because there's different FEMA buckets. Anyways, major safety net cuts targeting Medicaid and food stamps, work requirements, new cost sharing, paperwork requirements, savings 1.3 trillion. Thank you so much. And if I miss someone subscribing, I appreciate it. By the way, we're trying to get to 420 subscriptions. Usually I'm at 500, but I had to take a little mental health break. So if you would like to subscribe or buy a subscription for someone else, that's that star in the bottom left-hand corner. We are only at 35K. We need to tap that screen aggressively and then that arrow in the bottom right corner. If everyone could share the live with 10 people. If you don't have anyone to share it with, just push the copy link button once you push that arrow, and that counts as a share. And we'll get into the Medicaid thing because I suggest everyone watch John Oliver's show on HBO Max because he might be a quote unquote comedian, but he's also one of the best journalists I've ever seen. If you understand the model for the Medicaid cuts, it has to do with Georgia's Medicaid system, which has work requirements. And he did an amazing segment about this and the audit about Georgia's work requirements. And it's very similar to them changing things for Social Security, shutting down Social Security offices, shutting off the phone lines for Social Security. Because the real point is, and what has happened in Georgia is it's not that people can't meet the work requirements and aren't working. That's not what the problem is. It's that the system is impossible to maneuver. Thank you so much. Someone said, "Felice, I love when you're live. It makes my day." Thank you. You make my day too. And actually, I'm probably going to get a campaign violation. What? I'm not running for anything, but I'm just going to show you the video because I think it's important actually to understand what they're doing. The Medicaid cuts, when they say, "Oh, don't worry," first of all, it's children on Medicaid who can't work that are getting their Medicaid cut. But I do think it's important. I just want to show you this segment of what the point is. The point is not that people don't meet work requirements already. Thank you, Anne Marie, for subscribing. W. Anne Marie in the chat. Amazing. The point is not that people can't meet the work requirements or the training requirements or the, job search requirements. It's that it's impossible to submit them, right? And so people give up in frustration and no longer have. I know I'm going to get a copyright violation. I'm sorry in advance, YouTube, but it's just too good of information, and I haven't heard anyone else explain this effectively. He owns an auto repair shop and can't afford health insurance is the first thing wrong with this scenario. And just remember, this man is the face. This is Georgia's Medicaid system that has work requirements. And this is what the Republicans modeled it's okay, it's just work requirements off of. And by the end of this explanation, this man no longer has Medicaid not because he's not working, but because it's impossible to do the paperwork online around the work requirement. Understand what this woman is saying. She's saying, this is the system. This is the way Georgia kicks people off Medicaid with fake work requirements. People meet the work requirements, but submitting them every single month is impossible to the point where it just falls off and they can't do it anymore. And this doctor is saying, and believe me, I was one of these people. I always talk about, I was a Division I athlete, like completely able-bodied, never had a problem in my life. 5 years ago, I was in a coma and almost died. Like, there is no way possible I could do this to keep my Medicaid insurance. I had atrophied to nothing. I literally couldn't lift a soup can up. Like, I mean, you're talking about people who don't know where they are. Like, I can't express to you enough, like, that this is delusional. This doctor is saying, hey, I have patients. I have to say AM and PM on the bottles, or they can't figure out which medication to take. And then they make this twisty, windy path of paperwork requirements online that no one can understand. The same thing they've done by shutting Social Security offices, shutting down the phone line, making it harder and harder for people to claim benefits that they've been taxed on and deserve. This is what the federal government is doing. We're talking about Georgia's Medicaid program that the Republicans have modeled the future. Sorry, I don't know why it cut out at the end, but anyways. Yeah. So again, this is the state Georgia program that Republicans modeled the new federal Medicaid program after. And if you heard what he said, the most important part of that is that the majority of the money that this is costing, which is exorbitant amounts, is going towards quote unquote consulting fees. This is a grift, right? Republican politicians in Georgia are giving kickbacks to their corporation friends, and few people are even enrolled in this. Get excited. And when people try, the site crashes over and over and over, which is exactly what they're trying to do with Social Security. Frustrate people out of even trying to claim the benefits that they qualify for. Welcome to hell. This is America. Again, half of the children in America are on Medicaid, and this is the system they modeled this after. Now, let me get back to today's president. That was just a side clip I never showed you guys on Monday, but I think it's important to understand what they're modeling this entire thing after and how expensive. They don't save any money. And oh yeah, and let me just say this again, even though I've said it so many times and nothing has changed with Republicans and their cognitive dissonance, you're not saving any money when you kick people off Medicaid, right? Just understand, when people show up in emergency rooms and are uninsured, who do you think pays for that? We do. Tax dollars, we pay for it. We still pay for it. When undocumented immigrants have no health insurance, who pays for it? The federal government. It's just those fees are much higher than when someone has some type of insurance program, which again, and we'll get into this because I keep hearing this lie. There are no undocumented immigrants on Medicaid. There are 11 states that have state-funded programs separate from federal dollars, because God, MAGA, if you just do a Google search, you have a supercomputer, right? And there's 1.5 million people, I think, across 11 states who are undocumented, who will lose state-funded health insurance, right? These are state-funded programs. And now, why would that be a good idea? Exactly what I just described. We're paying for it anyways. Undocumented immigrants show up to the ER. You can't let them unalive. It's the Hippocratic Oath. So either if they have some sort of state-funded insurance, it's a lot cheaper, the end bill that taxpayers have to pay in states and the federal government, than if they have no insurance. It's the same reason in Arizona why we started allowing undocumented immigrants to get licenses. Why would that be a good idea? Or to get liability coverage, because we have so many people in Arizona causing car accidents and being uninsured, and that just screws American citizens over. It's much better to have licensed people who have the option to buy insurance, buying insurance. Oh my God. We have an idiot. Okay, I'm going to say this once more. People whose brains don't work. If you spam the chat, I will block you. This is not a live for idiots. This is a place for people whose brains work. So continue spam. You get one warning. If you continue spamming the chat saying dumb things and distracting people, then I block you. Okay, well, you did it again. I don't know if that's fair and if you received the warning, but I really don't have time for this. Like, I can't have people distracting other people right now. So, and again, I hope Charlie Kirk thinks Charlie Kirk is dumb. I hope Charlie Kirk doesn't like me. Like, Charlie Kirk is a liar. Like, please, that's so embarrassing. Old horse gums doesn't like me. Thanks. That's horrible. How will I ever recover from that information? I think that just means I'm doing my job correctly. Anyways, yeah, I'm just saying this fairly. It's not that I don't want MAGA in here to listen and to learn something. It's just you can't. This is, during debates, like being trolled and stuff, I actually find it entertaining and funny. Like, now is not the time, though. We have important things to go over. So if you can't listen quietly without saying asinine things, then you're just going to have to go, especially today of all days. This is where people who can do math are talking about how your idiocy is robbing us all. Oh, and I wanted to play this video, you guys know, and I'm just going to, my corgi, thank you. Oh, wait, where's that, like a Shiba Inu? I don't even know. That kind of it looks like a cross between two dogs. I love that. Thank you so much. a lot of senators and Congress people have made, or different Congress people have made these types of videos, but I just think, I'll say this again and again, if I had my choice of candidate for the next presidential election to represent the Democratic Party, it would be Senator Chris Murphy. I have followed every single thing he's done since Trump has been elected, and I just think he is firing on all cylinders, and we can't lose this election. He's unbelievably electable. So this is my choice. He made this video, I think yesterday, and I was like, I've got to play this for them. Like, this is why I love him.
I am shaking with fury over what just happened. That's the most monstrous piece of legislation I've ever voted on in my time in Congress. What do those Republican senators go back and tell their constituents that they did? In the final speech, the only thing they mentioned was the money for the border. But what more can they do? They've already militarized the border. They've already created an immigration police state. They didn't mention anything about the fact this bill kicks 17 million people off of their health care. There are going to be thousands of people who die in this country because they lose their access to health care. There'll be tens of thousands of other lives that are needlessly destroyed. This is the biggest cut in child nutrition in the history of the country, I think. There are going to be moms and dads who literally watch their children go hungry.
Never again, MAGA, claim to be pro-life. 50% of children in this country, I actually think it's a little higher, are on Medicaid. 50%. 50%. Never again claim to be. I mean, mathematically, you've never been pro-life. Ever. And we, those of us who can read and do math do know that. But now, I mean, every day your lies and like delusions become more hypocritical. You guys are a joke.
And why? Because they wanted to pad the pockets of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago friends. That's the only reason that they are throwing people off of health care, that they are rendering little children hungry so that some billionaire can get an extra $200,000 tax cut. It's just repulsive what they did. Now, it hasn't passed the House. There is a small but not insignificant chance that we can stop this bill before it gets to the president's desk. So let's get to work. Let's keep fighting. Let's not give up. Even if it does pass the House, then we have to tell the world what they did. We have to make sure that every single senator, every single congressman who voted for this from a swing state or a swing district never sets foot in this building again. This is a moral abomination, what they just did. And for what? For what? Just to make the lives of the rich and famous a little bit easier? So we'll do our work. I'm not giving up. I'm going to do everything I can to stop this bill from passing the House of Representatives. And it has real issues as it heads to the House of Representatives. But if it does become law, we're going to make sure these people pay politically for what they did. I am.
Amen. And this is why, if I could have anyone run for president, this is my guy. And trust me, because I know every single thing he's done and since Trump has been elected. And I'm telling you, he's the guy. And I'm not going to get too bogged down in, there's some other senators and things that have said some good things, but I don't want to get too bogged down in it. I also don't want to get too bogged down in the Elon Musk mess. If we have time for it, I'll come back to it. I really want to start focusing on the clips that have to do with the debate going on in the House. But first, I do want to just actively shame Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, who sold us all out and was the deciding vote that passed this bill out of the Senate. This is that moment. I was kind of reading you guys quotes from it where she makes a bunch of excuses, obfuscates. Yeah, she's just, I don't like her anymore.
There. Senator Paul said that that your vote was a bailout for Alaska at the expense of the rest of the country.
Oh my God.
That's what Senator Paul said.
Who tried to negotiate a bailout for Alaska while hanging every other state out to dry. I mean, this is well documented. I love the look. Like, how could you accuse me of something that I absolutely did?
We've got the
I didn't say it, ma'am. I'm just asking for your response.
My response is I have an obligation to the people of the state of Alaska, and I live up to that every single day.
I just think it's important to note that the bailout she tried to carve out, the Senate parliamentarian said no to. It was only for SNAP, and she didn't get it. So she voted yes and effed over everyone in Alaska. For they're going to lose Medicaid, they're going to lose SNAP, and she still voted yes for like a tax deduction for whaling. For people unaliving whales is what her price ended up being in the end. So you got nothing. You tried. And when the Senate parliamentarian said no to the SNAP, even though you're still selling everyone in your state out on Medicaid, still. And in the end, you got zero and sold them out anyways. I can't, watching her, it's like, and this is a person who's regularly demonstrated she knows right from wrong, right? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they all do, but her like, what? What? I can't believe you would say this about me is honestly one of the most frustrating things I've ever watched. Just be like, yeah, I did it. I'm scared of Trump. She said it before. She said it. That she's scared of him. Just say, like, I have no spine and I bent over and I effed everyone in this country over because I'm terrified.
I fight for my state's interests, and I make sure that Alaskans are understood. I work hard to take care of a state that has more unique situations, more unique people, and it's just different. And so when people suggest that federal dollars go to one of our 50 states in a, quote, bailout, I find that offensive.
First, okay, you tried to do that and didn't even accomplish it. Alaska, she got you nothing except for, I guess, people unaliving whales get a tax break. She sold you guys out for nothing. You're all losing your Medicaid and your SNAP. And she's like, I find this offensive. I find your negotiating skills offensive. Like, I find your righteous indignance offensive. I find the never ending insults to all of our intelligence offensive. Like, what world are we effing living in?
I advocated for my state's interests. I will continue to do that, and I will make no excuses for doing that. Do I like this bill? No, because I tried to take care of Alaska's interests. But I know that in many parts of the country, there are Americans that are not going to be advantaged by this bill. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that we moved through an artificial deadline, an artificial timeline to produce something, to meet a deadline, rather than to actually try to produce the best bill for the country. But when I saw the direction that this is going, you can either say, I don't like it, and not try to help my state, or you can roll up your sleeves.
And roll up your sleeves and do what, Lisa? Get nothing in the end and still vote yes? I just want to explain the math again because I think even MAGA can understand this. And especially if any MAGA is listening in Alaska, I think you should elect someone who has a spine and actually understands how to negotiate. Again, she didn't save any SNAP or any Medicaid. She tried. That was struck down. I just want to be clear. There was a 50-50 tie when this bill left the Senate that J.D. Vance broke. If she had voted no, then they would have gone back to the drawing board in the Senate and she had a chance to get something for you. She got nothing, was the deciding vote, and folded like a lawn chair. Sorry, and I just want to I don't want to scare anyone if you're just joining. I'm talking about Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska selling her whole state out and America and getting nothing in return but a tax break for people who unalive whales. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when the bill left the Senate. What's going on currently is the bill is being debated on the floor in the House. They have to vote on the rule. And then after that, which, if you understand, that's a technicality of the House, like the Rules Committee has to move the bill out of the Rules Committee. And then they have to vote on the overall bill after that later. So yeah, those things have not happened yet. Sorry, I don't want to scare anyone. I'm talking about if this woman who's saying, I was negotiating for my constituents, well, you're effing horrible at it and they should get someone who knows how to do it in place. Because you tried, the Senate parliamentarian said what you tried to do was illegal, which saved no one on Medicaid, by the way. It was only for SNAP. And then you got nothing except for a tax break for people who unalive whales. And you voted yes anyways. And I'm trying to tell people she was the deciding vote. If she was really advocating for people in her state, she would have said, no, I didn't get what I want. So I'm a no. That's how that's how sane people who negotiate work, right? It's like a game of chicken, and you have to have the fortitude to play the game. Like, she's terrible. And thank you, Jen, for the sub. WGen in the chat for the gifted sub, especially if you got it. Thank you so, so much. The sub goal is 420 today, which hopefully we can end this live then and I'll just check out for a couple hours. Thank you guys so much. Again, this is my Cash App and Venmo. If you would like to support me, this is my job. All of this research I do takes me hours to put these clips together for the people's receipts. And yeah, this is my job. It's like being a teacher. So most of the work happens that you don't see it. If you would like to support me, it would be much appreciated. Okay. Again, we listened to this whole clip, yeah. But I just want to point out, Lisa Murkowski is now a liar, a terrible negotiator who didn't save any SNAP or any Medicaid for her state and still sold her state out and the rest of the country and is now tap dancing, trying to convince people that she did something good. Like, I mean, whatever she thinks she's getting for her state, other than the tax break for people who unalive whales, nobody knows. And yeah, I'd promise people things that weren't in writing too. Okay, so let's move on. Let me close this really quick because I'm not going to I think the next things are Elon Musk clips. And I think we all know Elon Musk is still fighting. Oh, no, I forgot. I did screen record this. Okay, perfect. I did screen record it. Let me show you, because I just want to be clear. Lisa lying Senator Murkowski, senator from Alaska, didn't get anything from her state. And then I was like trying to find a clip of someone talking about how devastated the people of Alaska were going to be. And I found one.
In order to make up for this cost-shifting legislation, Alaska would need to find its already stressed budget hundreds of millions of dollars for Medicaid and tens of millions for SNAP. Such cuts could not come at a worse time. We're already struggling to stabilize our budget amid sharply lower oil revenue and a decade of out-migration. If this bill passes, it will mean less money for road maintenance and snow clearing, larger K-12 class sizes, school closing, and the defunding of state public safety agencies. Alaska cannot afford to lose health care funding. Our state is near the top of the list for the highest rates of suicide, tuberculosis, and sexually transmitted infections in the nation. It is also severely lacking in adequate behavioral health services. The cuts will only make these problems worse. And on the point for roads, money for roads, if there is less money for roads,
this is Lisa Murkowski voted yes, and this is what she has damned the people of Alaska to. They need hundreds of millions of dollars they absolutely don't have to make up for these cuts so billionaires and corporations can have more. And Lisa Murkowski has the nerve to then gaslight her constituents and try to convince them she has somehow negotiated a good deal for them. You would have to be pretty not smart to believe that was in any way the case. Like, I don't know what else to say. Okay, that being said, I have some other good clips. Thank you so much. Love you too. I have some other clips, but I want to get to the debates on the House floor, which I peppered in also with the debates in the Rules Committee that were going on to like 2 a.m. Yes. Rules Committee is the like gatekeeper before a bill gets to the House floor. That's why you'll hear people saying vote no on the rule. That's because there can be no vote on the bill in the House before they vote yes on the rule. So just understand those are the 2 final steps. I saw someone in the chat ask if this has to go back to the Senate. It depends on if they make changes, right? Like if they keep it as it left the Senate, what the Senate approved with their votes, then no, right? If they just vote on this, and that's what Trump wants. Trump absolutely does not want this bill to go back to the Senate. He wants this bill, the rule to be voted on, it to pass, and then he wants this bill voted on and it to pass no later than tomorrow because he wants to spend millions of dollars throwing himself a party on the 4th of July. Just to be clear, do you believe Massey really got enough reps to stop the bill? That's a good question. Well, I just want to say this. I don't want to get too far in the weeds on Elon Musk antics, but Elon Musk has started donating money to Thomas Massey, which I love because Thomas Massey seems to be the only Republican that can accurately do math. So good for Thomas Massey getting some campaign money because Trump is threatening to primary him. And actually, I would love, because you guys know how much time I spend on X, so you don't have to. I would love to, if we have time later, to take you through the timeline of what Elon Musk has been up to, because it is crazy. And watching Trump be like, Trump is basically now saying he's going to send Doge after Elon, like, which this is another example of how MAGA's brain doesn't work. Okay. Now, let me help you, MAGA. I'm going to try to help you out here. I know it's not going to work. We already just need to accept no matter how slowly we explain it, they can't figure anything else out. Trump put the richest man in the world, an unelected billionaire, in charge of rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. We know that Elon did nothing of the sort, stole a bunch of data, then just obliterated agencies that were investigating him and other billionaires. Okay? Now Trump is admitting that Elon Musk is a fraud who actually is, in holding government contracts that could be considered waste, fraud, and abuse, which I think a lot of us have said from the actual start. If you actually wanted to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, you'd have to look into the defense contracts going to billionaires. I think we've all said that for a long time. And for some reason, no one actually looked where the real waste, fraud, and abuse was. So you now have a president who is now actually admitting, which, I mean, we all knew this, but this is how dumb MAGA is. MAGA's like, oh, Elon's rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. He actually just cost us more money. Then now Trump is admitting that Elon Musk is a fraud who he possibly wants to deport. And if he doesn't deport, is going to send Doge after him to root out his waste, fraud, and abuse, which was the point we all made. Everything Democrats have said, because Trump is some narcissist, like in a fight with another narcissist, now Trump is admitting. It cost billions of dollars what Elon Musk did. He accomplished nothing. And Trump is now admitting it. And you guys are still sitting there saying, yeah, the guy that says men shouldn't wear makeup, yet puts makeup on every morning, makes perfect sense to me. It's an indictment on MAGA. Your brains do not work. Someone whose brain worked would be saying, this is a shit show. I'm not going to help the rich steal from me, to home invade me, to take from me so they can have more. That's what somebody who could follow a line of logic would now be saying. But none of you are. You're cheering on your own home invasion. Like, it's fascinating. So that being, I know none of you will get it, and there's no point in even mentioning it, but I'll just keep shaming you until maybe one of you gets it. Anyways, let's move on to the debates that are happening on the House floor today, and then also the debates in the Rules Committee. It's kind of intermittent. I love Jim McGovern. Can I just say that? The gentleman from Massachusetts, Jim McGovern, who also happens to be the ranking member of the Rules Committee, he is doing an amazing job today.
So I say to my Republican colleagues, what's wrong with you people? In this bill, you provide a $2 billion tax break for gun silencers, but you cut SNAP benefits for vulnerable families, which, by the way, is on average $2 per person per meal. Jesus Christ, what are you people thinking? I reserve my time.
He has had so many hilarious and 125% accurate outbursts today. Like, I wish I could just have a compilation of every time he shamed Republicans today. Yeah. Don't worry, though, for all the really rich people with tanning beds, the excise tax is gone. Thank you for pointing that out, Does Bunny. Yeah, don't worry. But you don't have to pay excise tax on tanning beds anymore because some billionaire who wants skin cancer asked for it.
And an attack on this most basic, effective program that is about food. You can live without a lot of things, but you can't live without food.